Howdy, guys. Welcome to episode 11 of the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. We're now part of Arena Sports Network. If you guys remember me from the Sports Drive, this is my little project. It's known as the Wrestling Show. Look, folks, if this is the first time listening to the show, understand the fact that I don't take myself too seriously, so this may not be the show for you. You're not going to see me pop a blood vessel over a holiday show. I'm sorry if that offends you. I don't give a fuck at the end of the day. But I wanted to say this, though. This show is for the fans at the end of the day. This is not for me. This is not for Adam. I'm not here to stroke my ego. I used the hashtag Let's Make Wrestling Talk fun again because I want it to be fun. There's too many times where I listen to these shows where I'm either depressed, annoyed. It's getting really repetitive, and we're losing the art of what fandom is. Yeah, okay, you can bitch about whatever you want, but at the end of the day, we're still fucking fans. Get over yourself. Take the time to enjoy the little things about wrestling instead of acting like the world's going to end over a freaking holiday show, okay? I had to get that off my chest before we get started because I'm really tired of hearing the same shit over and over and over again. So, hey, folks, I'm different. I'm different than most people in the rest of the media, and I strive on that. So bring your hate. I don't care. You can send your hate tweets at WC Josh Lopez, but I'm here to have a good time. I am joined, as always, weekly by my good brother, Adam Daley. You can follow me on Twitter at AdamDaley13. What's going on, man?
Josh, what's going on? Listen, everyone, if you were watching this at home, I wanted to clarify something real quick. Number one, don't worry. I know it sounded like Josh is coming off as the heel, but I am definitely going to retake that throne before the end of this show, and probably sooner than later, unfortunately. So get your arrows ready. And number two, no, the reason why my video is so skippy, guys, is because I know it really doesn't matter what I look like on these videos. It's more about the audio. It's more about the podcasting side of it. So, so if you are watching, and I know that the video is skipping, I apologize. But as Big Dave would say, deal with it.
Big Dave, he should come back, by the way. I just wanted to make that perfectly clear. Big Dave, we miss you, brother.
I miss Big Dave, man. I do.
It's funny. I was listening to him on MLW a couple weeks ago, and he could have said it better himself. It's like he could have enjoyed the experience because everybody wanted to be the show instead of enjoying the journey. We all knew what happened with the whole Punk thing and all that. We don't need to go into that. It's been said and done 1,000 times. But I don't know. Maybe it's me. I actually liked his heel stuff when he was last there, but that's me.
You know what, dude? It always seems like Batista is at his best when he's on his way out because he knows he can't, like, what are they going to do? Like, send him home? It's like, whatever. He wants to leave anyway, you know? If you look at all of his runs, I just wish, maybe in a way that makes me feel like I wish they would have given Big Dave a little bit more freedom on the mic. You know how, like, certain guys have that little extra leverage room that they're given, or wiggle room, so to speak. But Dave was good when he could go off the cuff. I'm sorry. I love the Blue Tista stuff. Was funny to me. That's heat, man. He knew what he was doing. It was heat.
Blue Tista will never escape my mind. I'll remember like it's yesterday at Chicago. Everybody's worried about Game 7 of the Hawks playoff game, wherever it was. And we see Blue Tista come out, and we see the Blue Tista trending worldwide. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in person in wrestling.
Dude, he looked like Santino Morella's jacked up older brother. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Oh, yeah, I guess this is the part where people realize that I tell a lot of jokes and don't take it serious as well, right? Okay. Yeah. Now that we're all on the same page here.
Yeah. Max Moon approves Batista's outfit. Anyways, folks, we do have a lot of good stuff to plan for you guys. It's back to regular format here between me and Adam. I do want to thank Eric Friedman from Tag Me a Date. He was awesome last week. If you guys missed last week's episode, go check that out after today's show's over. Eric is an awesome man. Go check out tagmeadate.com. Who knows what the future holds for this show? I'm not big on the guest heavy because it's not just dependent on me anymore. I like the chemistry me and Adam have on air, so we like doing that. But who knows? We'll bring some other of our friends on every other week, maybe a week of the pay-per-view. Who knows? But we're glad you guys is here enjoying the show. Yeah, we may be some heelish tendencies, but we're just here to have a good time at the end of the day. It's all good. I do want to say, though, to start off the show, we're not getting into the 4th of July Raw. Like I said, most of the times when we do the show, we don't go match by match or segment by segment. But there's some stuff I do want to talk about later on. But we're going to start off with our shooting the shit topics. First one here is it's pretty funny. Bret Hart was on WrestleZone Radio last week, and he got pissed over the fact that Triple H had a 98 overall rating on the video game, and he had an 85. Bret Hart got on cut a promo basically saying that Triple H can't lace his fucking boots.
Bret's just lucky they didn't give him an overall of 40 because that'd be, you get it, 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
But I think it's wait, is it? This is like it was kayfabe, right? This wasn't an actual shoot. He wasn't legit like upset about this.
No,
right?
it was. I listened to the audio of this. He was pissed.
Do you remember who was it for the Redskins cornerback? He ended up going to the Raiders and he was terrible. Hall. I think it was Hall. When he was so angry about his rating on Madden, and he was just like furious over his Madden rating. This is what this reminds me of. This is what we've come down to.
I'm just gonna use the Barkley phrase. Terrible.
How do you think Miz felt, man? There was females there. There was women on the game that were rated higher than the Miz on most of the games he was on.
I remember AJ Lee was rated higher than Miz, which is not a bad thing. I mean, it makes sense, but yeah, I see where you come from.
Yeah, it's a funny thing to be upset over, though.
Triple H can't lace his boots. I mean, okay, I get it, Bret. You're angry still about the thing that happened 20 years ago. Hell, I was like 3 years old when the whole screw job things happened, and even I've gone over that. So I
just think there's a lot of people, including most of our country, seems like they're going through midlife crises right now, and maybe this is just a midlife crisis for Bret. First, he's going after Seth Rollins. Now he's upset over a WWE 2K rating. Oh, this is going to be a hot show today. You guys are in for a treat.
Let's go to the next one here because I thought find this really blasphemous. Sonny has come out of rehab again. This is probably the 20th time in the last 5 years. Sonny spent a 3-month stint with the WWE Rehab Center. I'm not sure the actual name of the facility, so I apologize for that. But Tammy Stitch is out on free land again. There's a lot of times that Tammy just went for the 1-month rehab program, and that didn't work out for her. That's she said after this recent experience. I'm just going to say this. I hope it works out for her. I don't want something to happen to her like what happened with Chyna. Yeah, Tammy has a lot of demons she has to deal with, but she's put herself in that position a lot of times. So I don't know. I feel bad that she feels that she has to do harm to herself to get attention, but you only have yourself to blame when you get yourself in that low of a point.
Well, you know what? It is tough too because and this is where I actually typically do take the comedy route. I'm not going to only because listen, I make as many jokes about Sonny as anybody else, and we all do, guys. So like, let's all kind of ease back. But I mean, well, like not on the jokes. If you want to joke around, please do. I mean, yes. But like, we can't throw stones at one another. But I will say this. Listen, I make no secrets about it, man. There was a part of my life where I ended up in ICU because I took a couple of fucking pain pills. Didn't know I was allergic to them. Yes, it was a time in my life where I went from like a straight edge, like worse than CM Punk straight edge society, straight edge dude, yeah. Like preachiest motherfucker that you've ever. I mean, it was bad. So I went completely off the rocker. But so long story short, I ended up in a facility for 5 days, something like that. And I don't hide it. I don't know anything like that. But I also learned a lesson I kind of toned down like a lot of stuff. Did I do it instantly? No, absolutely not. I still partied for a little while. But it is something that you do have to learn from your mistakes. I was 21, 22, I think 21 when my accident happened. Fortunately, I kind of got out of, the drug scene, I guess you could say, pretty quick after that. But it's hard for some people when it becomes a lifestyle. It's not as easy. And especially me coming off of a pharmaceutical med that I was prescribed, that took me over, about a year to get to actually taper down off of. It is a lot harder than people think. It's not you go to rehab, you get out, and you're a new person. I mean, addiction is absolutely a disease. And so in this instance, I'm actually not making any kind of I'm not going to make any kind of jokes about Sunny today, only because if she's out of rehab, you know what? Good for her. I hope that maybe this is finally the one, because everybody gets like 2 or 3 awakenings in life where it's like, okay, I know I need to redirect my course, and hopefully maybe this is finally where she hit that rock bottom, because listen, guys, and I don't want to sound this by no means is coming off as male chauvinistic and or sexist, but when men hit rock bottom, we are much harder on men than we are on women in an instance, because men will use women when they're at rock bottom, and that's absolutely a terrible thing to do. So it's harder for women to pick themselves up when they hit rock bottom than it is for men, because men typically will then use women. And that's just a fact of life. So I think that's what happened to China in a lot of what was going on. I think that's, Sunny, obviously and I'm not saying men don't get used to. Hell, I think half of Hogan's career, he was probably just a fame addict and a fame whore, and people were using him, but I do hope that, all kidding aside for a change, and this is probably the most sincere I'll be all day. I truly hope that this will. I hope we are seeing the Sunny of old again, and by old I don't mean like the party or this, that, and the other thing. I hope Sunny is healthy, can find happiness, and can calm her demons.
We're gonna move on to this next one, because this one just really pisses me off.
Yeah, because I made it heavy, and I didn't mean to make it heavy, guys. Don't worry.
No, it's not that.
I'm gonna be giving you guys a lot to shoot on later. So
this report I'm looking at on my screen right now is just absolutely blasphemous. Okay, so supposedly Roman Reigns got caught for using fat burners, and secondly, supposedly there's gonna be a Roman Reigns Road to Redemption show on the WWE Network. First off, jackasses, can we show how desperate some wrestling? I'm not saying all wrestling fans, but can we just admit how desperate some wrestling fans are to make this guy's life a living hell? Okay, I get it. He's not your cup of tea, but god damn already, please.
You know what, Josh? Josh? Let me ask you a question though. When you say, all these people trying to ruin Roman Reigns' life, are you talking about fans or WWE? Because dude, they are setting my man up to. It seems like they're setting him up for public abuse over and over. Listen, he's doing his. That's why I'll never, I never speak ill on Roman Reigns. I'll speak ill about the character. I'll speak ill about, whatever. But I just think that if you look at it, WWE's never done him any favors. They know he's going to get all this heat, and I'm sure that he gets that. If it's for fat burners, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what is, we don't know what's on this wellness poly and what's not. But I don't know, Josh. Don't you get the feeling sometimes too, though, that it's like he's almost like a giant rib in WWE too, because this poor dude takes more abuse, and listen, he's a grown ass man and with broad shoulders, and he absolutely can take it.
Mm-hmm.
But it just seems like when this dude is down and you're like, okay, so he slipped, wellness policy violation. Again, guys, I don't think it's as big of a deal as a lot of people do. I really don't. So I think it's something everybody should move on from. Pay a quick couple dues, then he can move on. No big deal. No harm, no foul. But I think that in a way WWE does kind of have to taper back a little bit and say, okay, listen, we dumped all this money into you. We dumped all this, we've taken a lot of criticism from so many outlets, and now you do fail a test. So we do kind of have to not lay off the brake, but put on the brake a little bit, but just kind of ease off the gas for a change. Instead, you're going to make a Road to Redemption story out of it. The fans are going to kick back on that, right? That's Josh. That would be okay, Josh. What if I told you that they were going to re-sign Ryback and have a Ryback Road to Redemption thing? How would the fans respond? Go.
Hey, I have no comment for that, to be honest. But at the same time, I don't know where this road to redemption thing is coming from, though. You know what I mean? How do I know that it's automatically, oh, Roman Reigns gonna be a good guy when he comes back? You know what I mean? Like
Agreed.
you know how we
Agreed.
talked about last week about we don't know who the managers are gonna be for Raw and SmackDown. Let's just see what happens first. Now, do I feel that they put themselves in a bad position with some of the things they do with them? Yeah, absolutely. I do think at the same time, like I said last week when we were talking about the whole Punk thing when he left, I do feel that at times Reigns has been a scapegoat for fans' issues towards the company, and that's why to your point, the company puts him in a bad light at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's part that, but I think it's part. I do think it's part when fans start to see WWE grooming the next guy. And dude, I always go back to WrestleMania 22 is the keynote example in John Cena's career. Because Cena was, remember, he came in, goofy bleached hair, ridiculous shorts, trunks, and then all of a sudden he was the master of thugonomics, which was even more ridiculous than. But he was over, and he was getting over. But something happened at WrestleMania 22 when fans realized, oh shit, he's like the next Hogan. What did we do? There was instant kickback. I think it honestly has less to do with the Punk podcast. I think that's just more of like a funny thing that we can toss in on. I think fans just saw the writing of the wall as, and again, not the next John Cena is the form of like he would do Cena things, but they're like Triple H said, it's Shakespearean theater is what they do, and they have roles that they have to fill. And when the dude with the mustache from Young and the Restless, if he ever gets written off, is he still on that show? Is that a show? And who was that dude? What's that dude's name with the mustache on Young and the Restless? Is that still a show? I'm looking at my wife. No? Okay, anyway. Long story short, when they recast on soap operas, guys, that's what I'm getting at. It's just, I think fans saw that early. And I think fans were already kicking back before. I think it was already a 50-50 split before the Punk podcast. And, the Punk podcast just gave people on both sides more of a reason to be boisterous. That's all.
On the road to the redemption thing, like I said earlier, I don't know if that's actually going to happen. I'm just going to wait and see what happens at Battleground at the end of the day. Because, at the same time, like you see like Ambrose saying that, oh, he made a mistake. People deserve a second chance, blah, 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 blah. But if you really look at the stuff Rollins has been saying in his promos, he's been speaking for almost every fan, like, oh, why is he still in the match? This and that. And, there's comes to a point, even with a guy that everybody says, oh, he's being groomed, he's being this, he's being that. Even those type of characters have a boiling point, and I feel like even if Ambrose being goody good guy, best friend, and Ambrose is being the asshole, I'm like, if I'm watching this at home as Roman, I'm like, fuck both of you guys. I'm going to kick both of your asses and get my title back.
You know what? I think, and I see what they were doing with Ambrose, so that they did have that 50-50, because again, we're such a polarized society. It's either one way or the other. It can never be right in the middle. You know what I mean? So you either have to be like, so obviously I see why they did it. But in a way, like, I would have liked to have seen Ambrose be like, you know what? It's not a big deal to me, but it sucks because, company was counting on, or like just one little snide comment just to kind of create maybe that friction for when not that they need it. I understand he already dropped Reigns with 30 deeds, and so there's going to be friction there. But I would have liked to have seen Ambrose get maybe like one little line in, but be like, but it's not really that big of a deal to me. So then why you're kind of seeing both sides that way.
I just think all the things that have happened with Roman, whether good, bad, or indifferent, from a storyline standpoint, I feel like he's at his boiling point. I mean, okay, you got Seth Rollins that screwed you over with the Authority. The Shield broke up. Rollins cost you your WrestleMania moment. You got booed out of the building at the Rumble. You had to deal with the Authority for almost a year. Yeah, had to do that whole stuff with Triple H. Okay, Rollins beat you cleanly at Money in the Bank. And then Ambrose, your best friend, goes in and cashes in at the same night. And then the next night, before you get popped, Ambrose lays you out like a jabroni with the dirty deeds. I mean, come on.
Listen, and this is how, and again, this is how you know Roman is over, because he's putting other people over. And like, it's funny. It's almost like Roman Reigns is like the greatest enhancement talent in the history of the WWE. You know? Like, it's like when he puts someone over, it means something, damn it, because Vince said it does. No, it's, but you know, and again, it's not, I think a lot of it, that's why I'm never harsh on Roman Reigns. I'm harsh on the way they, you know, the writing for him and the booking for him, only because, you know, it's not Roman's fault, guys. Anybody at home, if you're Roman Reigns and WWE is coming to you and saying, listen, this is what we're doing with you, they're not going to say no, you know. And I don't know how many times we could say that ad nauseum. It's going to be over and over again. But if you were in the same shoes as Roman Reigns, you're not going to go, hey, because they're booing me, maybe you want to go with somebody else. No, you're going to take that and try and either flip the crowd or keep going with what works, because obviously, it was working, and his matches were good, guys. So stop with that too. But listen, the main point is, Josh, like with you, like what you were saying, again, don't let one like wellness policy violation that if it's over fat burners, but that shows you how strict their wellness policy is.
I mean, but get your facts straight, though. There's been so many bad reports about wrestling. It's ridiculous. I don't even know if it's fat burns. And honestly, I don't give a fuck what he got popped for. People make mistakes. Nobody are angels in this earth.
Listen, I read one report that said that he also tested positive for marijuana. If that's the case, Roman Reigns is going to be one of my new favorite wrestlers, because that means my dude he knows the ultimate way to tell haters to shut up. But no, I think for me it's like this. Number one, it truly is none of our business. But now that it's a public company, maybe it is. I don't know. But on the other flip of the coin, I don't think, to me, it doesn't matter whether it was fat burners, whether it was steroids, whether it was ecstasy, whether it was coke, whether my man was on like Quaaludes. No, the Quaaludes, she love me in the morning. I don't care. And I know that's, exactly. I don't want to make it seem like that that I think that there should be no wellness policy. No, that's not what I'm saying. Do I think that the wellness policy should be enforced? No, that's not what I'm saying either. But I think there comes a time where, like, number one, that maybe they need to reevaluate their wellness policy and really look at what's on and not on there and see, because again, they are not, to what they say, they're entertainers, not athletes, right? So certain things, I think, like a fat burner, and I get it, heart stuff, I get it later on the line, but on the other flip of the coin, I just don't think that any of us out there are really ones to pass judgment. So I just don't see why. Again, it was just a reason for, but on Roman's end, I mean, he does have to be a little bit more cognizant when he knows, that the world is waiting for him to slip. So
I agree with you. I just feel like when it comes to the wellness policy, you have to look at things that can cause to addiction and block that shit out. Everything else, like fat burners or whatever else, it's only if it hurts the guy in a medical way, like a health wise, then that's an issue. But if it's something minute like that, or whatever what Adam Rose was dealing with because it was a prescription thing, that's not a big deal. I mean, my only issue with the wellness policy, strike down on things that are addictive and that's going to affect your health, not something that's trying to help you. At the end of the day, that's my issue.
And I think the biggest thing is the reason why the wellness policy is so strict, and this is, I think, what a lot of us don't understand, is that they've had so many lawsuits against them. They almost have to go overboard with it.
Yeah.
And, and even like, I don't know, what are them little things that you get at I don't know. I remember people used to get them at like gas stations. It was like speed that you can get there. Like, I don't, would those be on the list or were they not? What it was called, like yellow jackets or something, or bumblebees or some bullshit. I don't know, something weird. But like, like there's all these like little ways, like people used to drink cough syrup,
Yeah.
That's scissor. But all these things that are on this wellness test, like, for me, it's amazing that some of these pharmaceutical drugs like Adderall and stuff like that could end up on there. Because they, because of their addictive nature or whatever, or it's just them. They have to be so overly protected because of all the lawsuits. And listen, I'm not going to call out any names, but there's a lot of names of the past that for whatever one reason or another, I feel like some are vindicated, some are not in their lawsuits. But it's because of this onslaught of lawsuits and a lot of fans out there that are always trying to get, for some reason, throw WWE under the carpet for not protecting their workers.
Yeah, well, I guess we're all stockholders at the end of the day, like you told me a couple of weeks ago. So, one last thing on the Roman thing, because I want to make this perfectly clear. A lot of times we want things and say this needs to happen and that needs to happen, but I use the saying a lot: be careful what you wish for and pick your hill to die on. And I'm going to say this, and maybe you guys may agree or disagree. Put it in the comments section. We do finally 3 years at the doing YouTube videos, I finally found a way to use a damn chat room. Freaking Nimrod. So if you have any comments, put it in the chat room. But be careful what you wish for. Everybody's saying that, oh, this is the time for him to turn heel. Now. He has to do heel. Now. Look, let's say that happens. And then as what I'm feeling is going to happen, everybody's going to do a 180. And everybody's going to start kissing his ass if he's a bad guy. And my issue with that is that, okay, you want the guy to make a character change, but you change your entire issue with him in the first place. That doesn't do anything. You wasted almost 3 years of anger and frustration for the guy to turn for a fictional character change for nothing. At the end of the day, you just want the bitch and make him go to a different character so you can like him. Heels are not supposed to be liked. That's the point.
Right. Well, that's, you know what, though, I can't even blame fans for that anymore, man, because let's face it.
I'm just saying as a business in general. I'm not saying
absolutely.
Fans.
But I think, but again, WWE, they're very self-aware that you know, over the top good guy doesn't work anymore. You know, like Hogan's character is not even at
the top anymore. I mean, besides the holiday promos, but I see even more of an edge from Cena recently since he came back.
Oh yeah, so Cena's been awesome, but that's the thing. Once they're allowed to do a little bit more, we always bash the talent without really knowing what goes on behind the scenes, and knowing what goes on in networks and stuff like that. And I think this is recently a lot of people are really showing their hand, because you're now starting to see a lot of people that, if you're piling on Roman Reigns, no offense, at this point, like wishing for somebody to be like fired or suspended longer or stuff like that. Like, just, you have no idea. You just have no clue. And I'm not trying to speak like I'm higher than anybody else, with the exception of maybe after something that Roman Reigns got fined for. But that's a nice little slip in there. But I think listen, here's the deal with Reigns. Everyone wants him to flip heel because he's got a naturally edgy look to him. He's got a natural badass look to him, right? But but with them playing him in the middle, you're kind of giving, in a way, you're kind of giving fans what they want, because whether you like it or not, we love the boo. And I don't care what people say, we love the boo. Number two, I totally agree with you, because it's just like John Cena's. Everyone wanted Cena to turn heel, but if he would have turned heel, all it would have done would have flip-flopped the fan base. Then the kids would have booed him, and the adults would have cheered him. You're still getting 50-50, but you're not guaranteeing that merchandise that you're getting from the kids. You know, so I don't know. That's why John Cena guys never turned heel, and why Roman Reigns is being painted in this middle picture. For me, I think that this, and I'm not kidding around when I say this. Now, I have this Roman Reigns suspension has given me so much more material to like Roman Reigns, to a point where, like, I do want him to be a champion now, because, you know, when he gets ready for his Superman punch, now I know my man just got done hitting the blunt. Boom! Oh, he's ready to go. You know, I know when that spear comes and it looks like he's soaring, it's because my man's higher than a kite and he's gliding through the air. You know, no, but I'm sorry.
He's spinning fire when he's going to set up for the spear. He does that. Roar.
Listen, right? Yeah, that's when he's exhaling. No, listen. For me, I said immediately when I found out about the suspension, that if for some reason I found out that because guys, if you haven't figured it out, I'm very anti-pharmacy and I'm very pro marijuana. So, and I don't drink, and so you guys can, you know, fill in the blanks on where my life is, but and judge accordingly, I guess, whatever your personal beliefs are.
Bring your arrows.
Yeah, throw your arrows. So. But that's my point with Reigns is, like, my thing was, if this dude, if he tests positive for weed, people would latch on and be like, oh, because marijuana jokes with Star, and then like how many people like Rob Van Dam just because he smokes weed? Not because he's an excellent wrestler, which he is. Yeah. He's an excellent wrestler. But how many people, especially now when Rob Van Dam, I'm not talking like in the 90s when I used to go see Rob Van Dam at the community college of Beaver County. I'm talking right now when Rob Van Dam has all the, the younger generation doesn't really know. What they know of Rob Van Dam is that he's the marijuana wrestler, right? That's basically, and that's why they like him. Not because they saw his body of work up close and personal, things like that. That being said, it would have been the same for Reigns, and I was kind of laughing about it. So when it came out, and I don't know if that again, guys, all these reports are so. But and Josh, the one thing I wanted to say though, with I don't want to just kind of shame wrestling media with this because this is all media anymore. That as soon as somebody's suspended, it's either look at how bad we're still after Tom Brady's balls, and it really doesn't even matter, guys, because remember. Who cares about Tom Brady's balls? Because whether they were deflated or not, he still had to bust a nut one more game to win that championship, baby. So, it's again wrong hill to die on.
Or Pete Carroll's playbook.
What I mean,
deflated.
Wrong hill to die on. And again, somebody now, if this is something where it was steroids, and in 6 months from now he tests positive again for steroids. Okay, maybe let's reevaluate. Yeah, maybe. But first offense, guys, for something we don't know, but it could have just been something that stop. Everybody stop.
Yeah, like one of the cool things we talked about with this show is trying to like realize what the evolution of what today's wrestling is, and I think Roman defines that pretty perfectly because one, he's a controversial guy. Secondly, he gets a lot of buzz, whether it's positive or negative. And three, I have no issue with gray area. I really don't. I'll admit, people say, "Oh, I just kissed Roman's ass," which is not true. Like I said a bunch of times on the show, he's not my favorite guy in the roster. His character, I was indifferent with the overly good guy or whatever. Yeah, it was whatever, like, during that build to WrestleMania. I was indifferent to his character, but I really enjoyed his in-ring work. Once he broke up with the Shield, I liked the badass stuff he was doing with Randy Orton, and then he got injured out of nowhere. And now we here with Roman with the gray area guy. Like I said, I'm not marking out over the guy, but I enjoy his in-ring work. I just want to see what happens at Battleground. I don't want to assume things. I just want to see what happens first, and then we go for there. If he's overly, oh, guys, I'm going to do this for you. You guys are going to help me campaign my journey back to the championship that I should have never lost or whatever, then that's stupid. But this whole gray area thing, I'm fine with that. But maybe that's me.
And honestly, listen, guys, everyone knows I'm not a fan of the Roman Reigns character, although I think I might be now. But yeah, listen, I've always kind of gotten his back and kind of talked him up on these shows because it's a character, and Roman Reigns is playing that character very well. Now, I'll say this: I think that all the fan kind of like Roman this, Roman that, Roman this. He's given this, he's given that. Listen, after WrestleMania 31, when Rollins was, and let's face it, guys, as fans, Seth Rollins was the man from the Shield that we wanted to hold the championship first, and it happened. So after that happened, for me, that's when I thought, okay, the Roman Reigns hate is going to dissipate. It's going to go away. Now people will be cool with him. And it just seems like everybody wants to keep piling on. And Josh, everyone keeps saying like, they keep saying he can't use a mic. They always go back to one promo though, the whole suffer and succotash or the tater tots promo, right?
Year and fucking 9 months ago. Move on. Dude, The Rock cut corny fucking promos during the Attitude Era, but nobody ever gave him shit over it. I'm not gonna compare Roman to The Rock, but goddamn, if you're gonna throw stones at one guy, throw fucking stones at a bunch of other guys in the past that used corny promos.
Listen,
like Hulk Hogan's entire repertoire.
Oh, it was terrible. Listen, I grew up with it. It was terrible. I was a little kid and hated Hulk Hogan. Like, what little kid hated Hulk Hogan other than the deviant that is Adam Daley? But the thing with Reigns, though, and for people to say that his character hasn't evolved at all, and it's the same old shit with Roman Reigns and this and that, dude, a year ago, ring-wise and mic-wise, this man, I believe, is night and day for me. I think that it's absolute night and day. I almost think that last year's WrestleMania, whether any of us know it or not, was that wake-up call for him that he needed to like really know that to sharpen up certain skills. He thought and I don't want to. I'm just saying like And I always go back to the Shield DVD when he said, like, he doesn't care about – he's not there to learn all these moves. He's just going to do what it takes to get to the top. Maybe he realized that you can't just kiss your ass to the top. You do have to have – listen, say what you want about Cena and The Rock, like, and try and regurgitate what CM Punk said, but those guys could go. Maybe I don't know if they kiss ass or not. None of us will ever know, but they could go in the ring. They could go on the mic. So and those aren't my favorite guys, but at the same time, I can't. I be in the interest of fairness, as they like to say. Roman Reigns is a player, man. He's a superstar, and this shows it. The fact that his suspension like stopped the wrestling world, it just proves it.
Our last shooting the shit topic is gonna be a two-parter here because it involves a pay-per-view that I can give a flying fig noon about this Saturday, and a jackass who, in my opinion, shouldn't have broke the Undertaker's streak at this point. That's how annoyed I am with Brock Lesnar. Look, okay, I get it. Easy attraction, Suplex City, the suplexes, the badass appeal. Nobody in wrestling has a badass cool factor to him. Kevin Owens does, but nobody wants to point that out. Brock Lesnar, he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. This jackass went on a media call last week saying that I wanted to be back in the octagon because I wanted to be a real athlete. Hey, asshole, and I mentioned this to Adam on Friday because I was pissed when I first heard this.
You were too. You were heated, man.
It's bullshit. It's pro wrestling, so it's a joke. It's pro wrestling, so we can't take it seriously. I get it. You're a former MMA fighter. I get it. You're a former athlete. But hell, Kurt Angle wouldn't say something like that if he was in the UFC. Kurt Angle was a far better collegiate athlete than you were, especially a collegiate wrestler. And he said that doing professional wrestling was even as hard on his body as training for the Olympics and stuff. This douchebag, and I get it. He doesn't care. I get it. But that doesn't mean I can't say what I need to say towards him. Oh, he doesn't care about the rest of his. Oh, thank you, Captain Obvious. I didn't know that. We're gonna kiss the ass. We're gonna kiss ass of Brock Lesnar, a guy who doesn't give two shits about the wrestling fans or the business. But we're gonna rip Roman Reigns a new one just for the hell of it because we want him to lose his spot in the company. Like, come on now. And now he's gonna say that. Oh, I want to be a real athlete now. Hey, dumbass, who's the one that's been making you look like $1 million over the last 4 years?
Now do you see why I said if I was Vince, I would absolutely book him to lose at SummerSlam, and I would have had him lose to Kevin Owens. But listen, here's my thing, and this is where I'm going to love pulling the hypocrite card out on everybody, is I love Lesnar. When Lesnar crossed over first, I took a lot of heat from UFC purists that basically told me that Brock Lesnar wasn't shit. He was a fake fighter. And then after he lost to Mir, I really had to eat a lot of crow. And then, so listen, whenever Lesnar finally beat Mir, then beat Couture for the championship, I was very elated as the wrestling fan that also watched UFC. That being said, I think it's very intriguing that Brock Lesnar, who is still being paid by WWE, is basically just kind of squatting all over WWE. Yet CM Punk leaves the company and squats on WWE, but at least he's not getting a paycheck from WWE. But Punk's the bad guy, and let's all get on our knees and fillet Lesnar to make sure that we know how much we love him. And listen, I'm using that, guys, obviously to make you guys laugh. But I have to admit there is a hint of hypocrisy here because Brock Lesnar in a way is kind of going out there saying, and whether this is intentional or not, all the world's a stage, Josh. You know that we always talk about that. Everything. Yeah. Lesnar's a much smarter guy than people think. He really is. And so whether this is to either get out of his WWE contract, whether it's to get heat on him so that he could be, he could be more hated when he comes back so that he's more of a heel, he's more of a bad guy when he comes back to WWE, maybe that's the setup. But at the end of the day, I'd love to see Lesnar go and knock out Mark Hunt. But because of the way that fans are like treating him, like once again, like he's the second coming, and while still shit-talking CM Punk, I hope Lesnar gets knocked out in the first round. And you know what? Guess who else doesn't care if Lesnar gets knocked out in the first round? Brock Lesnar, because he signed a very nice check. This ain't about being a real athlete. This isn't about going and fighting anybody. Brock Lesnar loves to fight people. Absolutely. This was about the paycheck that they put in front of Brock Lesnar. Yeah. His heart is not going to be in this fight 100%. And I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I really, honestly, at the end of the day, don't care. I don't think it should affect what happens in WWE. But if I'm a booker, I'm sorry, and I got held over a quote-unquote barrel like this, like Vince likes to say, you're holding me over a barrel there, kid. I'm having Lesnar lose at SummerSlam, and I know it's Lesnar Orton now, and but I think that's what's being reported, dude. Who knows?
I don't know.
Who knows? But I just think that at the end of the day, I don't know. I think this is, again, it's going back to when I used to defend Brock Lesnar when I was in my early 20s when he was doing this at WWE. I thought it was cool because he was going against the system. But now it just seems like it's his regurgitated act from when he left the first time. But now he's still employed by WWE, so it's even worse. He's literally spitting in the hand that feeds him.
It's not only that, but he's also spitting in the face of everybody in the locker room that's taking a backseat to this asshole. And at the same time, to your Punk point, Punk made him look like $1,000 after him losing matches and programs to John Cena and Triple H when he first came back from USC. Punk was the first guy Brock Lesnar was really the beast again against. Nobody points that out. SummerSlam 2013. Does that ring a bell? And this is an interesting point because I know that a lot of wrestling shows have been talking about, what happens to WWE if Brock loses this match, or what happens to Brock's drawing power, whatever. He said on the podcast, on the media call, he doesn't give a shit what his drawing card is or whatever, what happens after. He just said it right out to you, Nimrods, that he does not care.
And you know what, Josh?
Do you care?
No, and I personally don't care because to me, UFC and WWE are two different places. And I'm not saying real versus fiction because listen, let's face it, Vegas has their hands in UFC and Dana White. And I'm sorry, I'm not. This isn't conspiracy theory, brother. Here, I'm not like conspiracy brother from Undercover Brother, but
just spit it out, bro. Just do it.
You can't. Come on, man. You can't. Let's look at what Dana White has done with UFC over the years. Anyway, he sensationalized the sports entertainment aspect of mixed martial arts.
Exactly.
You mean to tell me that there haven't been fights where they've told fighters, "Listen, you're going to stand up more than you're going to," or this, that, or the other things versus certain fighters? Absolutely, they tell them. I find it hard to believe that things. I'm sorry. Again, all the world's a stage, so don't tell me one is 100% legit and one is so fake, because it's not. There's a lot of people that, like, to your point, Josh, yes, there's been so many people that have been in both that have said the WWE schedule is absolutely more taxing on the body. It's so much more physically demanding than a UFC schedule, not because you're not getting real punched in the face, as they say, but 5 nights a week you're throwing your body on plywood that feels like cement, and I don't think people realize how much professional wrestling puts on, how much stress it puts on the body. And I think that if people did understand that, they would kind of kick back with the fake versus real when it comes to UFC stuff too. And that's why, in a way, where I almost wish that the easiest way to resolve all this is have Brock just get his teeth beat in, have him come back, and then it's like whatever, he's a sports entertainer again.
Oh, here he is, Suplex City. But, you're going to have the MMA purists and you're going to have the wrestling media guys who are a mark for him and get on their knees for Brock. That's going to say, no matter what happens, Brock Lesnar should get an automatic title shot when he comes back to the company. That's bullshit. I'm sorry. That's bullshit.
No, but I have to keep saying this, and I know everybody's thing is that, okay, say he goes to UFC. Say he manhandles Mark Hunt. Okay, let's just say he just manhandles him. 20-second fight. We're gonna Rousey this bitch. Okay, so we're gonna Ronda Rousey this fight about 20 seconds. Okay, so they say, well, you almost have to put him in. No, you don't, because this is scripted wrestling. So you're telling me that it wouldn't be believable though. I understand. So you're telling me that Brock Lesnar, if he wins in UFC, has to have a championship fight because otherwise it wouldn't be believable. But yet this is the same show where we watch a dead wizard come out of the grave once a year to secure a streak that's already been broken. Think
By
about
the freaking
the words
that's in the UFC right now.
Are you listening to the words that are coming out of your mouths? No, I mean, like, I hate this whole believability argument in wrestling anymore because it's a live-action comic book. Jesus Christ, we don't go to the movies and think that Superman is legitimately an alien that flew down, and him and Batman with this suit are going to go after it. Joker's running amok. Like, come on, guys. This is where I have to, like, I'm so tired of, like, well, it's not believable in sports entertainment. I hope so, because if any of this is believable, we're all a bunch of sociopaths, and I hope we all realize this.
I've said this a lot. I mean, if you really look at it, wrestling in its pure sense is the most nonsensical form of entertainment in the world. The most nonsensical. Yeah, at the same time, we get on our soapbox bitching about, oh, this booking doesn't make sense. Oh, that shit doesn't make sense. It's subjective. There is no right or wrong answer.
Dude, the most over phrase right now is the first grade insult of stupid idiot. Let's just keep it 100 and be honest. The most
the stupid idiot. I gotta give props to Jericho. Stupid idiot is the best thing in wrestling.
It's so great. It's so great, and it's like a first grade insult. You stupid idiot. And that's so, guys. Come on with the whole believability stuff. It's that's I think that for me, I think as a wrestling fan, when I kick back, like that's where I think believability has never. If you watch wrestling for the believability, like if it's still real to you, to where you think that like these like Brock Lesnar, like he should win all the time because he's a mixed martial artist guy. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I think that maybe we should have an intervention. I do. I think at that point, I do.
But I agree to your point earlier a couple weeks ago. And people get mad at me. I don't care. Bring your arrows. It won't be the first time people brought heat towards me. It won't be the last time. So I don't care. I want to see Brock Lesnar lose when he comes back. Honestly, I do. I don't care who it is. And maybe people could say that, they're indifferent to Orton and Lesnar thing. I'm not saying that I'm indifferent to it because besides Batista, the only guy Brock Lesnar's never really had a program with from the Ruthless Aggression era is Randy Orton, and I've always wanted to see that match. Yeah, you can guys go see the little curly hair Randy Orton against Lesnar for SmackDown on YouTube. I get that, but I really feel that Randy Orton could be the standard bearer of wrestling, while this Nimrod is going to spin in the face of the entire wrestling locker room. Oh, I want to be a real athlete again. So, okay, I'd rather see Brock Lesnar and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. Brock Lesnar and Kevin Owens is not a SummerSlam match to me. I'm sorry, guys. I'd rather see a prize fighter against a self-proclaimed prize fighter at a WrestleMania. But that's me.
And honestly, Josh, I'll admit I do want to see Owens and that's my impatience getting the best of me because I kept saying I wanted to see Owens and Lesnar at SummerSlam. But I'll admit I think that for me, Lesnar is starting to get that Undertaker vibe with me. And then I'm not saying with anybody else, guys. And I'm obviously not saying with characterization. I'm saying that like with me, where in Adam Daley's WWE universe, Brock Lesnar is starting to become the bathroom break match for me. And I'm not, it's no disrespect to Brock, but he's such a non-factor in long-term storylines and or plans. He's really special attraction. And at the end of the day, I think that the pony has done his tricks. And listen, I love Brock Lesnar. I still think he's a fun watch. I just don't, sometimes I don't need it. It'd have to be the right opponent. I'd rather be somewhere beating up John Cena.
Hashtag beat up John Cena. That's phenomenal. By the way, folks, if you've joined what we've been talking about so far, make sure to like this video and subscribe. Some spirited conversations, though. There's been stuff we've been needing to get off our chest, and I've been enjoying the show so far. So we got some good stuff more left to talk about later on. We'll feel it in your questions if you just put it in the chat, and we'll try to answer to the best of our ability. Really quick, let's get to the 4th of July show. Again, a holiday show. It's not my hill to die on. I'm not. And honestly, folks, maybe this is not patriotic for me to say this, even though I'm Puerto Rican. And it's a crock that Puerto Rican is represented. Puerto Rico is represented as a continent by U.S., but I am indifferent to 4th of July. I'm sorry. I could care less about 4th of July. I could give two fucks about Nimrod shooting firecrackers out of their ass or
wait, hold on. Wait, did you say Puerto Rico is a continent?
Yeah, Puerto Rico is a continent of the United States, unfortunately.
I don't think it's a continent of the United States. I think it is a part of it's a part of the United States. I forget, but a continent is like Asia. So I don't think it's a continent.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I get it. The state of Pennsylvania is a state.
I'm just saying that Puerto Rico should be its own country. That's my point.
Oh, no, yeah, no, I agree. I think it should either be a state or its own country, yeah, but it's definitely not a continent. That's like North America, South America.
Yes.
Asian stuff. That's, yeah. Just had to make sure we got that out there so nobody thought that, American geography, ladies and gentlemen. That's the American school systems. Yay!
Yeah, exactly.
I'm busting balls.
Yeah, it's all good. But yeah, like I'm indifferent to 4th of July. So, as everybody's blowing fireworks and hanging out with their phony relatives at parties and stuff, and running into crazy ex-girlfriends and God knows what. I don't know. Maybe it's me. I'm just indifferent to 4th of July. So. Like, I knew the show wasn't going to be WrestleMania worthy, and we say a lot of the show. Not every show is going to be WrestleMania worthy. You got to take each show with what it is, and then pick out some of the little things that you do like. And you're going to have your cheesy moments. At the end of the day, the show is for kids, so we do forget about that a lot. The show is for kids, even though I get it, the whole demographic, 1834, blah, blah. It's a long story. We're saying the same shit all the time, but there was a couple things in the show I did like. I liked the Wyatt video packages and the New Day promo. Seeing Xavier finally snap, I thought that was coming for a while, and I really do think Adam that it is going to be a 6-man. This is not going to be a tag team title feud.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? I'm starting to think that maybe they were casting for New Orleans, remember? At least maybe this would make more sense. Right when they had that Raw in New Orleans, remember we were talking about it? They had that casting call for extras to play like zombie-like creatures to chase down New Day. So is this when they're going to the compound? Is there just going to be like a bunch of creatures So I think that we, along with the Final Deletion, it looks like we're going to have some interesting things going on in WWE with some off-the-wall stuff, which I'm okay with. Listen, I'm cool. I dig what they're doing. This is, again, going back to the old school live stuff, but I dig it. It's different. Different is good. Different. We'll get to that when we talk about the Final Deletion, because we're damn sure we're talking about that today, dude. But I don't know. I like it. I agree with that. I definitely like what they're doing for the last time.
The Final Deletion, yes, we'll get to that. Trust me, we will. I do have to get stuff out of my chest about that, and it's not bad actually. So I'm looking forward to that. But that poses an interesting question, though. Should they do more stuff outside of the arena?
You know what? I would say, yeah, but it would have to be done smart. It would have to be done right. But we'll talk about that when we talk about the Final Deletion, because I'm going to talk about the 4th of July show, because I want to kind of echo your sentiments. And this is where I knew that I'm going to catch so much heat. But listen, it's hard for me to take WWE serious sometimes, because I get it. It's our national holiday and stuff. And this is where it's always, we have to thank these men and women for working. We always complain. It's like, and listen, I do the same thing. It's a holiday show, so I know it's not going to be that great. But it doesn't have to be this one giant, America blowjob. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be a 3.5 hour, stroking of the United States. Especially when you have Linda McMahon out there endorsing Donald Trump, who claims to make America, who wants to make America great again, like it allegedly isn't. And yet you're talking on your show for 3.5 hours about how great America is. So, Vince, I think you're sending mixed messages from the person you're endorsing or Linda is endorsing. Are we making America great or not? Because this is what drives me nuts about this whole patriotism bullshit. You shove all this stuff down our throats, and like, this is an international show, guys. Like, it's just too much for me. There was too much America. Like, I get it, and this isn't. It's just too much America in one show. Like, my God. And this is coming from an American. Like, this, like, I was born here, guys. But Jesus, like, enough is enough. Especially when on the other 364 days a year, all these people who are claiming to love America so much are either Italian or Irish or German or they're Cherokee or they're whatever the hell they want to claim that they are. And then one day a year they bust out their ugly ass American flag T-shirt because America. Anyway, now that rant is over with, because that's where I know that I'm getting it a lot. Because it's frustrating, Josh. I know that you're I agree with you. It's so frustrating. We're the biggest hypocrites in the world because we sit there and we talk about how we hate this guy. We need to make America great again. No, it's just a bunch of white assholes that are having midlife crises that want to vote for Donald Trump, that think basically people that are afraid of anybody that isn't a white dude.
And also people that are afraid to adapt to change. How many times in wrestling do we always have to hear stories about guys who are in their 40s and 50s whining and moaning about wrestling not being presented in the same way it was back in my day. Back in my day, we got to do it this way. Tradition, that's what matters, and all this crap.
So terrible. It's just terrible. I didn't need the 3.5 hour, like you said, it's typically a marathon for the network, but this was like a marathon to just say, yeah, America's fantastic. We're gonna go endorse Donald Trump for president now because he thinks America sucks.
Yeah,
it's like the biggest, like, fuck you, man. It's like
it's a mismessage.
It's overdone. And listen, and I know I have a lot of friends all around the world, and the thing is that like when they put on shows like that, it's like really, it's a turnoff to a lot of the international viewers. It really is. Just like they don't realize that putting every time they go over to London, putting like the stupid fucking phone booth in the old school car, it's like it makes them disgusted. It really makes the European crowd sick. But anyway, that's where I'm gonna get a lot of heat. Listen, I love this country just as much as, but that's the freedom of speech, guys. They like kick back on, like, there's the thing being disgustingly overly patriotic. Like, I want a wrestling show, not where we're gonna boil down to. By the way, when is Kane? Demon Kane, by the way, American. I thought he was from the depths of hell. So is America hell then? Is that where we're at now? I mean, Corporate Kane, I could see being from America. You know, Glenn Jacobs.
Hey, let's not forget. Demon Kane is running for governor in Tennessee soon. Hold on. Is it Senate or who cares?
I thought it was a mayoral. I thought it was a mayoral thing, but no. But obviously, guys, I mean, I'm going over to talk intentionally, guys, just because it's like every time they do one of those holiday shows, it's almost like, okay, enough's enough. Like I especially when it's dealing with America. If it's like if it's a 4th of July show or like Memorial Day, it's extra John Cena thick, which it wasn't this time, and that's good, but it was a little too like rah America. It was more of a like, hey, I don't know, guys. I just wanted a wrestling show. I don't need to sit here and listen to like how, and then like I said, I don't need to listen to how great our country is for 3.5 hours when then you're going to turn around and basically endorse a guy that's saying this country sucks. So
I agree with you, bro. I really do. But at the same point, though, I do have a disagreement with people that say that nothing happened on the show, because stuff did happen on the show. Like I did mention, though, the Wyatts and New Day, I really enjoyed that. They did announce Becky versus Natty for Battleground, which I think is a good decision. I loved the Sasha Banks Charlotte in-ring promo. What was your thoughts on that one?
Fantastic. Dead on. I think it was I'm going to get your opinion on this, Josh. I know that a lot of people don't like Charlotte on the microphone because they feel like she's yelling, but I have no problem with her like dictation in the ring. I think that if it's working, it's working, and she's supposed to be booed, right? She's supposed to be abrasive. She's supposed to come off abrasive. So I like the fact that in a way she's at times yelling into the microphone, because I think it does add to that. It adds on to that nastiness that her character is supposed to have. Mm-hmm. On the flip side of the coin, I don't think a better statement has been said on Raw than shouldn't be in the conversation. I am the conversation. I think that was that line by Sasha Banks was, which is absolutely 100% keeping it 100. I mean, she absolutely is the conversation in the women's division.
And that's what a lot of people were looking for, right? This, no shenanigans, no men, just Just state your case of why you want the championship and then go from there. I really thought that was something that was very important, and I thought that went over a lot of people's heads because, again, I get it. I agree with you. The whole American stuff was a little bit overboard, but sometimes people don't have a sense of humor whatsoever. I thought the food fight was pretty funny to me. I thought that was pretty funny.
I want to say, you know what, that you could tell that they were just having a blast too. The food fight was fun because you could tell that they were having. If it would have ended there, you know, and they did a little mini montage at the beginning. But this is one of those where we sit there and, you know, you hear people say, well, why do they do this during Black History Month? It's this, blah, 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 which I think they should do it during Black History Month. So please don't, you know, because, and absolutely, because we get it just like this on the 4th of July. But the food fight, I got to say, was Kevin Owens during the food fight was great. Everybody, I love Jericho just standing back with like an American flag scarf on. You know, I mean, just the whole food fight thing for me was fun because you could tell that was them, dude, cutting loose and just having a blast.
Miz and Maurice too. They were great in that too. I did find it funny though that Heath Slater is the one that always got to go through tables during these fights. I remember a fight a couple years ago where Randy Orton gave him an RKO through a table. I remember that. So poor Heath Slater. That guy never catches a break. But you make a good point though. They look like they're having fun and they're having a good time. Hell, you know, these guys are all the way out in Japan. They just did a tour in Japan. You know, that's a long flight to come back to the States. You know, you're not spending the precious 4th of July holiday with your family, but still, you still have a job to do, and they're at least having fun.
Well, you know what I was going to say, Josh? I think that's the one thing that we do take for granted and why I don't get that upset. And granted, I don't think the show – I think there was a couple of good parts on Raw this Monday. You know, I'm not going to beat the show up, but I didn't think it was that great of a show. You know, there's been worse. Yeah. I'm not going to let – you know, but – the opening segment to me, why I loved it and why I enjoyed the fact that you could tell they were having so much fun is, you know, guys, anybody listening at home, think about the schedule they just came back off of. They were on, I think, you know, they were on a West Coast trip. Then they went to Honolulu. Then they went to Japan. Then they came back. And again, Josh, you know, I know the holidays don't mean as much maybe to you or I, or, you know, but it really absolutely does to a lot of people, you know, so missing it with their family, their friends, you know, some people come from very deep families, you know, cookouts and stuff, you know, there are a little, you know, we forget how much that these performers sacrifice in their lives. Yeah. So if they do have a down holiday show, like I'm not going to like tear the show apart, you know, like, cause don't get me wrong. I'm glad that it wasn't, you know, they did a great job building it up to like it was going to be a bigger show than it was, because I do feel like the show fell flat. But that's their job, is to promote the show, make sure people watch, you know. So listen, they're doing their job, but at the same time, for all the traveling they did and everything, I think that's why that was a 16-man battle or 16-man elimination, whatever, at the end.
Yeah,
that's why you have that match, guys. These men and women were on the road on all over the world for the past, you know, however many weeks. And now they're still working on the 4th of July, you know, and still had to work the day after. So I don't know. I'm not going to beat the show up too much for something where at the end of the day, again, would you rather have a repeat or would you rather have, you know, another live show where at least
the Westminster Dog Show?
Oh, Jesus Christ, man. No.
You know, like I was going to say.
That's a whole nother kind of – real quick, and I have to slip this in there. I know this is a wrestling show, but you have to be a certain kind of pretentious to have a dog in these Westminster kennel clubs. You are one of the most pretentious assholes on the face of the planet. So if you were at home listening right now and you've ever put a dog into like one of these Westminster high-end – because my dog needs to be prim and proper and groomed, please – I mean, I doubt that – I mean, I only have like I think only 40 people follow me on Twitter. I don't know how much. So I mean, but please unfollow me. Like, it's so strange. Like, it's such a pretentious and asshole thing. I don't know. I'm cut from a different cloth. My dog chills, but my dog don't get like prepped to prance around like it's insane.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
And people wonder why, and we wonder why people hate the United States. We have a dog show that's like Miss USA. So.
Hey, you remember the kennel from hell? Or we don't need against?
I'm not even going to. Those dogs were so disinterested.
I know, right? Oh boy. Well, one of the other things from Raw I did enjoy was the John Cena club segment. We got a new hashtag that's raving on social media. Hashtag beat up John Cena. I do like the fact they're going the 6-man route with Cena and Enzo and Cass versus the club. I think this is a good decision. You could have both Cena and Styles possibly on SmackDown and bring that program to SummerSlam and end it there. So, Adam, what's your thoughts on it? Do you like the route they were going there, or would you want another Cena-Styles match at Battleground?
I think if Cena loves being Mr. Boston as much as he claims he does, he needs to quit gripping on the New York boys. First, he was Brooklyn for crime time. Now he's going after some. Some other boys that they built from NYC. So I don't know. Maybe Cena should just stay out of New York City, man. I mean, if he's Mr. Boston, I thought there was a rivalry. No, listen, I don't. I guess I do like it. But I don't know. This kind of makes me indifferent towards it a little bit. I think it's good for Enzo and Cass. I think it's good for. I don't know. I mean, I don't think Anderson and Gallows need it right now. I think Anderson's one that I love. The more mic time they give him, I hope fans are starting to grab on to him because he's amazing. Carl Anderson is amazing, and I love that he always has to bring up hot Asian wife. I love that. It's just one of those running jokes that he always slips in that I like. But I do like the whole beat up John Cena thing. Obviously, I've been tweeting about that. But I don't know, man. I see the necessity to having the club in a match with Cena. Actually in a match. And I guess Enzo and Cass makes the most. It does make the most common sense right now. So
I wanted to make this point because it'll tell you a lot of things we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, and obviously we can notice every part of every wrestling calendar. You always have that one part of the year that's a standstill. It's either there's a rash of injuries, or it's a standstill before WrestleMania, or roadblock, or it's a standstill like here with the brand split, right? So we're in the middle of a 5-week build to a pay-per-view, but everybody's focused on the draft.
Which is crazy, and not to interrupt you, Josh, but it's a 5-week build to a B pay-per-view when you think about it. So
yeah. No, you made a great point there. It's a 5-week build to a B-level pay-per-view, and we said, and you said it on the Matt's show, Pipebomb with McCool and Co. Go check it out, guys. It's a great show. I promise I will be on there soon, and we'll wreak havoc on that show pretty soon. But you have to realize that not every show is going to be a blowaway, nor does it have to. I remember we had conversations last year where we enjoyed a lot of pay-per-views, even if it wasn't the greatest things since sliced bread, that we had enjoyed pay-per-views from the last couple of years. So, yeah, you're having this 6-man tag team match, but Battleground wasn't supposed to be SummerSlam. Battleground wasn't supposed to be the Rumble or anything like that. So, you have a better stage, like you said with the Shield. You wanted the Shield to be on SummerSlam. Same thing here with Cena and Styles. I think it's a better choice to have Cena and Styles in Brooklyn, and you can have that type of match like you had with Rollins and Cena last year.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you know what, Josh? I think, too, we as fans, and this is just my opinion, meaning me, so everyone direct your hate towards me. I think we really need to stop with these expectations that every pay-per-view has to be better than the one prior and has to be better than the one prior. And if it's not this knockdown, drag out, this pay-per-view blew me away, then it's the worst pay-per-view ever. And guys, that's the furthest thing from the truth. You have to remember, we're only paying $10 a month for pay-per-views now. And I'm not using that as leverage to say, well, that doesn't mean pay-per-views don't have to be. But listen, pay-per-views don't have to be worth $55, $60 a month anymore. But what pay-per-views need to do is to get you to tune in on Monday night.
Yeah.
So a lot of us that complain about, well, I don't like they left it with a cliffhanger. I don't like this. Well, yeah, because the money is in the ratings of Monday night still, again, not beating this dead horse, I still think that we need to get into a new age where the Nielsen ratings aren't factored in as much because it's total bullshit. But, with these pay-per-views, especially when we're going to start having 2 a month now, we have to remember these are just storyline advancers. There's not supposed to be. Points. Absolutely. This is where the chapter turns. That's all. And, some chapters turn with a harsher curve than others. And I think that this isn't going to be one. This is more of a mild bend than a sharp curve. So, I just think that, but again, I think we go in with these expectations that unless it's this, oh my God, every match is a 5-star match. And in our minds, we have unrealistic expectations of what a 5-star match is anymore too, I think. Like, I don't think we even really know what we want to see. I just think that if people would just take, again, we talk about it. I think the pay-per-view is going to be fine. I think we're going to have some interesting things come out of it like we always do with these B pay-per-views. We go in bitching and bitching and bitching and bitching, and then we come out of the B pay-per-views like, I was pretty good. It was amazing. I can't believe this happened, that happened. So I think we're going to have the
Kevin
same.
Owens and Sami Zayn. You know what I mean? Who knows if we'll actually have Sasha and Charlotte at Battleground.
Let me ask you a question about Battleground too. And do you think, just before I forget, with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, do we see a handshake after the match?
Yes.
Absolutely, we do. I absolutely think so.
Yes.
And the crowd will go nuts.
I just really think you're going to have that boiling point there. So, yeah, the Raw this week was kind of a Passover with the holiday, and we had a lot of patriotic stuff. But I don't like it when people say nothing of interest happened on the show, because things did happen. It wasn't every segment of the show, but things did happen. So there was some things built for Battleground. I do have a question about Rusev and what he's going to do at Battleground later on in the show. We'll talk about that later on. But let's go into a little topic I brought up to Adam last night after I was done with Impact. Little like fantasy booking of SummerSlam. This is a little conversation of what we might see at SummerSlam with the fact that the draft is 2.5 weeks away. We don't know who's going to be on where, but it's interesting. Battleground will be coming up soon. I have a general idea of what matches we will see in Battleground, and Battleground will be better than everybody expects it to be. But SummerSlam is the next big thing after July 19th. So, with the exception of AJ Styles and Cena and probably another Shield match, what else would you like to see on that show, good brother?
All right. I mean, it sounds like we are getting. We're probably getting Lesnar and Orton, so we could probably pencil that in, right? Mm-hmm. I guess at least that's kind of what's being talked about.
Yeah.
And it does make the most sense, guys, because really, with Orton being out right now and with Lesnar being out right now, in a way, as much as I want to see Owens and Lesnar, I think this is how I would book it too, just because you could really book around what Brock Lesnar does at UFC 200. If he wins, then you go one route with him, I guess. If he loses, you can go another route with him. And Orton hasn't been around, so it's safe because no one's getting hurt. I mean, it's you're not hurting a young talent. You're not over. You're whatever. I'd like to.
What about this though? Orton could beat Lesnar. Let's say Brock gets knocked out on on Saturday. Who cares what day that pay-per-view's on? But let's say Brock does lose that fight. I wouldn't mind seeing Orton win.
I wouldn't either, but I'm gonna sound like the guy that when Undertaker broke the streak when he was like, no, anybody but Lesnar. In a way just wish that because of the way that they've been marketing Brock Lesnar, if they choose to have him take the loss at SummerSlam, I wish it would have been to somebody, a younger talent. It could really help elevate to the next level. Orton doesn't need to win. Lesnar doesn't need to win. Like, neither of them need to win anymore at this stage of the game. And you could really use that to elevate somebody. Hell, and I mean, go ahead.
I got a scenario, and I don't know if you'll agree with me or not on this, but with the feeling of Kevin and Sammy's feud coming to an end, I think it's ending at Battleground. Who knows? Maybe we could have another match in SummerSlam that we don't know about. But I feel that thing's ending at Battleground. So what if Kevin took on The Undertaker at SummerSlam?
Ugh, no. But real quick, one Josh, I think you're absolutely right. I think this is done at Battleground because they've been, like, I don't even want to say teasing or even heavy petting. They went full Monty on us with how much they're saying they could get drafted to separate brands. We might see the end. Like, that's basically saying, hey, guys, hey, knuckleheads, they're going to be on different shows. Yeah, they're going to be on different shows already. No, but I think that it ends at Battleground. But I don't know who I would book Owens against though. I really don't. Taker. I'm done with Taker, and I say that respectfully. It's not. I don't mean like in a negative way. I'm just nothing the Undertaker does it for me. I've seen the entrance 8,000 million times. And that's really the draw anymore.
How about this?
I mean, I'm not saying he can't go ahead, but I'm over Taker.
I think you'll like this. Owens and Jericho.
Excuse me. Yeah, I do like that. I like that. And they've been teasing it, and that would be a good way to send Jericho packing too. And not that I want to see that happening, but Jericho tends to leave after SummerSlam, although he might stay around for a while this time, right?
Yeah, I don't see any dates coming up soon. That's the barometer we always need with Jericho. Is there anything he needs to promote music-wise?
Yeah, does he have to go in the studio? In a way, they have been teasing an Owens-Jericho feud, and I think that would be a really, really good SummerSlam feud. I really do.
Hey, you guys heard it here first on the podcast, okay? Owens and Jericho, that's our pick if Brock and Owens don't happen at SummerSlam, okay?
I also think, and I know, I'm trying to think, because I know
I wouldn't mind an Owens squash match with Baron Corbin, by the way, but that's me.
Okay, let's say, do you put Baron Corbin on the SummerSlam card?
No.
Pre-show?
Unless he's going for a title, which would be weird because both the mid-card guys are heels now. So I just don't see Corbin. Who's he going to go through? Kane? Big Show? I doubt that.
Yeah, I don't know who they're gonna spin him off onto now.
And you think people are gonna be pissed at Roman Reigns? Picture if they said, "Oh, we're gonna have this new tournament to crown a new world champion," and Baron Corbin is the one fighting for the world title at SummerSlam.
No, that won't happen. I think they know better than that. There's a lot of green still before they realize he can bring in the green. Listen, he's gonna bring in the green, but he's a little too green still to be bringing in that green right now.
Just like the green on my title bar over here.
There you go. I'd like to see New Day. The New Day. See, and we just got the Fatal 4-Way. That Fatal 4-Way we just got at Money in the Bank is the Fatal 4-Way I really wanted to see at SummerSlam. So I'm gonna say at this point, if we're gonna see New Day probably drop the titles at SummerSlam.
Yes.
I really don't want it to be against the Wyatts though.
I don't think it's gonna be the Whites though. That's my thing. You know what I mean?
I don't either because this is a 6-man match. The title's not gonna be on the line at Battleground, correct?
No, it's just a 6-man match. For what I know, they haven't even said anything about the tag team titles. Bray's been basically saying, you guys are gonna come out here and try to steal my moment. I'm trying to do my thing. Hell, Bray hasn't even been the heel in this scenario this whole time. If you really look at what's been said on the programming over the last couple weeks, New Day has been trying to spread this power of positivity stuff, and the New Day cut him off during his return. Bray didn't want them to come out. Now Bray's goal is to take them out. So
yeah,
I think I think there's a chance that maybe New Day might get split at the draft, and maybe Kofi and Big E turn on Xavier.
You know what? I don't know if they turn on Xavier. I definitely do think they get split, and I do think that Woods goes separately from Kofi and Big E. I think Big E goes to one show. Big E and Kofi go to one show. Woods goes to the other. That's the whole vision that Bray Wyatt was seeing, and that's where I think that while they're on 2 separate shows, the titles are it's going to be hard for them to really still be a stable on 2 separate shows, and then they kind of fall apart at SummerSlam. That for me, that's where I think there's a payoff there. And maybe it is to the Wyatts. Maybe they do drop the titles of the Wyatts, but I would rather the club. For me, that's what I really wanted the club to win the tag team titles at SummerSlam.
And it would work. I think that would work too, because you're already having a split in between the New Day family. They lose the program to the Wyatts at Battleground, and then then they lose their titles at SummerSlam.
I can say for me, I'll admit this is a little bit difficult to fantasy book for me with the brand split coming up because one, I don't read dirt sheets, so I don't know where the rumors are that who's good, so I'm like so in the dark with all this stuff, but and that's what's funny. Well, by the way, that's what's funny when people are like, oh, sometimes you come out with some far out ideas. Yeah, because I don't read dirt sheets. I use the creativity and pretend like I throw ideas at the wall like they probably do in the right. Not saying all of them are good, guys. Nobody has caught on to my shtick yet. Jesus,
you don't need the internet for everything.
Yeah, like
sometimes this is the only thing you need.
Yeah, it disconnects sometimes, but as we do an internet show. But I thought all along, okay, give the club the titles the tag team titles at SummerSlam. But it's just, I don't know, are they going to be able to spin off Cena this quick? Because now that they're involved with Cena and Enzo and Cass, this almost makes me feel like there's going to be something bigger at SummerSlam, like we're going to see Enzo and Cass versus the club. And then AJ Styles, versus John Cena one-on-one. Or maybe, we still don't know what's going on with Finn Balor. Is he going to, they're kind of teasing us whether he's going to be a part of the club or not be a part of the club. He might not have an effect at all. This is just, I don't know, Josh. This is just, like we always say, it's such a fun time in wrestling. And this is one of them because there's so many variables in place right now. I'm sorry. If you think you're an expert at this right now, unless you know somebody, that doesn't make you an expert. That means you just have inside information. There's no way that you can absolutely predict what's going on if you don't read dirt sheets.
Yeah, neither of us on here are experts, and nor do I try to act like I'm an expert. That's not my thing. If you guys could claim to be experts, but I don't know. I have no inside info as anybody else does. So it's just guess. That's the only way I look at it. Like at the end of the day, I'm not gonna lose sleep if I get my guess wrong because I didn't have any information. I didn't have a source promise me things that was gonna happen. You know what I mean? So it's whatever. But let's say the whole Orton and Brock thing doesn't happen. Let's say it's Bray and Orton.
Well, you know what? At least that would go back to where Orton left off. Because I don't know. It's been so long since we've seen Randy Orton. Jeez,
true.
And that's but it was the Wyatt family that did send him out. So at least that would bring things full circle. We'll tie up some loose ends, and I would be okay with that. I would actually be better off. I would be more open to Orton versus Bray and Owens versus Lesnar than Lesnar, Orton, and Kevin Owens kind of gets thrown in some kind of whatever match, and Bray kind of gets thrown in some kind of just whatever match. I really want to see them start the run with Bray and KO a little bit. Not that they're not already, but it just seems like they're running with them to a certain point. They keep getting them to the 10, but then they just decide they want to kick a field goal. You know what I mean? Run the damn ball.
I think this is where the second title comes in, though.
Yeah,
those guys are gonna be in that. Whether you want to see that or not, guys, those guys are gonna have that opportunity.
Well, and this is where, again, as fans, we become hypocrites, Josh, because everybody. I want 2 titles. I'll admit, I am the guy. I'm one of the guys that wants 2 titles. I'm one of those fans. I never thought they should have unified them this last time. Anyway, I think it was a mistake. It was a rush in judgment to monetize something, and because they thought that their roster was weak, but then all of a sudden they got an influx of talent from all over the world, and you have people are just begging to have this person pushed, that person pushed. So I know a lot of people don't like this 2 title rumor that's going on, but you know what? It's better than listen to everybody say, well, Bray Wyatt should have a championship. Maybe Dean Ambrose would have got the championship earlier, because I do want to say the more and more Ambrose, and I know it's only been a couple weeks, guys, but the more and more Ambrose has been going on this title run, the more and more I'm totally digging Dean Ambrose as champion. I got to admit that. But, it's going to give guys like Kevin Owens, Bray Wyatt. I promise you, if they don't bring a second world title in, Sami Zayn probably never wins a world championship in WWE. A mid-card title, yes. I don't think he would ever have won the singular WWE World Heavyweight Championship. If there's 2 titles, he has a chance. But if there was only 1 title, I'm sorry, guys. I know you love him, but Sami Zayn would. And I love Sami Zayn. But remember,
he'd be lost in the shuffle.
He would get lost in the shuffle, and there's certain powers that be that, where it's as a Raider fan, I hate to keep saying it, but I had to deal with Al Davis until
it's those people that think that it's also the same people that think having black box and telephone booths on the set of Raw in London makes sense. So I don't need to go further. You know what I'm talking about, Adam.
Yep.
I do want to say this though. I pray to God that blonde Rosie O'Donnell on steroids, Dana Brooke, is not wrestling on SummerSlam.
That got real pretty quick. You know what? In a way, you have to start to get her out there, though, I think. And SummerSlam's a pretty safe place to do it for one of the big two. It's rather SummerSlam than Mania, I guess. But if it was, let me ask this: if it was in a multi-women's match where she's not in it for the championship, but there's maybe an 8-woman tag team elimination match or something like that, I mean, obviously she'd have to be a part of that.
If it's on the kickoff show, then that's fine. It's whatever to me. Like, I wonder how they're gonna tie this in though, because they're actually going with the Clash of Champions instead of Night of Champions after SummerSlam. So I wonder if you're gonna have a couple of #1 contenders matches on that show as well.
That would be interesting. I do like, real quick, I do like that they're going with Clash of Champions instead of Night of Champions. I like that so much better.
Clash of Champions.
So much better. But maybe they have eventually they have a tournament for #1 contender. I don't know though. I think that they're
a battle royal.
Battle royal. Yeah. I think they know though that Sasha's the next feud. I do. And maybe Dana Brooks after that. Maybe Charlotte retains and Dana Brooks after that. And, they keep stringing us along with Sasha till next WrestleMania. But I don't know, Josh. Like, what do you think? Do you think that this is more? Because for me, if I'm fantasy booking, I personally am going to fantasy book Sasha to go over Charlotte at SummerSlam. Just because I do think it's the right time. I think that Charlotte's held the title for long enough. I don't think we need to wait anymore. I think it's, and then the good thing is with Sasha now, you can start to really mix it up. She could have it for a couple months. You could put it on somebody else. I'm not saying playing hot potato with the title, but, you wanted to establish that first major title run. You did that. So if I'm fantasy booking, I would love to see Sasha go over. And that's not a fandom thing because I love Charlotte. I absolutely – Charlotte has grown on me so much that, like, she is – I look forward to her segments, and I don't fast forward through her matches, surprisingly.
Yeah, and they both women did an amazing job on Raw this past Monday night.
Absolutely.
I agree with you. I think Sasha would go over on Charlotte and SummerSlam, but here's the thing: they have the rematch in the same event that Charlotte won the title last year. But I think you do 2 out of 3 falls. Yeah,
I would be okay with that. I would be okay with 2 out of 3 falls, but we talked about this on warm up a couple weeks ago, and so I think Matt had the idea, or Mitchell McCool had the idea of a cage match, which I think that would be cool. But I would really enjoy a ladder match. I think that in hindsight, let's look back to Razor and HBK WrestleMania 10. What that did for not only the Intercontinental Championship, but wrestling as a whole, including the ladder match. Imagine what a ladder match in the women's division could do. They wouldn't have to use it all the time.
Adam, it's not believable.
Oh, yeah. No, here's what's not believable. I am a married man, and any married man out there will tell you this. So here's what's not believable. A woman in a fight not going after the closest women, or after the closest weapon to go after another woman. Have you ever seen women fight against another woman? First thing to come off are the heels. They're going for some weapons. So don't tell me. And listen, I've seen my woman get into arguments with women in public, with men in public. Listen, and when you're married, sometimes arguments happen. If my wife was in one of these things, it wouldn't be yeah, she'd have like knives hidden in a ring. It wouldn't be like brass knives. No, this woman would come prepared. So I think it's like they're doing the women's division a disservice. And I'm not saying bust out the steel chairs or anything like that, but they could have a very nice technical match with a ladder as a prop, an occasional weapon. Yeah, but I'm not saying bust out the tables, ladders, the chairs, all this kind of stuff, which eventually they could. But a ladder match I think would be an absolutely amazing thing, and Sasha and Charlotte could pull it off.
Can you picture a 4 horsewomen Hell in a Cell match. But no, we're
man.
gonna have a lot of people say, "Oh, that's not believable. How are you gonna put women in a Hell in a Cell match?" Shut up.
Yeah, that's what I don't get. And listen, this as much as we want to knock TNA, this is where TNA has been ahead of the game for years and years and years now. Their knockouts division has been, really, I don't want to say has been the better wrestling out of the two companies, but at least they let their women go. They let them scrap. They let them show that, listen, it doesn't matter. We don't have to be these little Barbie doll things that, oh, you slapped me and it hurts. No. You know what I mean? Like, they go at it. That's what I don't know. I think I do. I just think a ladder match could really take this. A ladder match with the 4 horsewomen, in my opinion, would be any fanboy or girl's dream too. I think that you can mark that in.
Oh man, I going back to your rant earlier about people saying things have to be believable. This really shows how outdated our mindsets is in today's society. It's really sad.
Well, that's what kills me when people are like, well, I mean, I don't know, but I mean, I just don't see how, like, years ago, and Lesnar said that he would have he would have did the job for Daniel Bryan, and people are saying, well, just come on, do you really think that Daniel Bryan would ever beat Brock Lesnar? No, it's professional wrestling, though, guys. Jesus, like, I don't think that I really don't think that Vince does not like his children, although maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But obviously, I'm sure he's a great family man. You know what I mean? Like, why are we supposed to pick and choose what we believe and not believe in when it comes to wrestling? When really, if you truly believe any of it, maybe you need to spend some time where I did it in late 2001 to bring the show full circle.
Yes. I want to read a couple comments from the chat room. Shout out to Acer. He said that he loved you shooting your promo on the Westminster Dog Show. That was great. Also, shout out to our buddy Nick for the UK. He loved our point on the stupid telephone booth and stuff. Hey, send your hate tweets to Kevin Dunn if he has a Twitter, okay? Nick, that's who you need to direct that to.
Yeah.
Also,
Nick.
I want to give a shout out to my couple friends of mine from the Sports Drive, Browning. He's a good friend of mine. And also the Snowman. He said he's loving the show so far. So thanks, guys, for checking it out.
And you know what, and Josh, thank you for doing that. And I want to piggyback off that. Nick, thank you for sending the comment. And you know what, Nick, I got that because little trivia about me. When Sam and I got married, my wedding party, all my groomsmen, best men and groomsmen, were from the UK. We're all from England and Wales. So I have a lot of friends on the other side of the pond. We talk a lot of wrestling. And it's the first thing that always comes out of their mouth is, Jesus Christ, mate, every time with this phone booth and and I'm doing a terrible accent. It's early in the morning, guys, and I just
hey, you got a broken back going on. It's good.
But
keep going.
I got it. Yeah, my broken Matt Hardy's going on. But but it's so funny. Like, anytime you bring it up to any, it's like so not offensive. I don't want to say that, but it's like kind of like a slap in their face, like stereotypical, like a jolly-o cup of tea. Like, that's not really England, guys. Like, come on.
Oh man, this show's been off the charts today, man. We've ran the gamut. We got heat coming our way, especially for those that are gonna watch the replay of this. But hey, we gotta keep it 100. The old saying, bro.
Listen, it is. I don't care. It is what it is. I'd rather, like I always say, I'm the man you love to hate, or I'm the man you hate to love. Because listen. At least I'm keeping it 100. You guys ain't gonna say that I'm putting on a shtick. I do. Listen, it just. Especially when, and please, guys, I know the hate that I'm gonna get is that like, oh, you don't like being American, get out of the country. Shut up.
You don't like dogs.
Christ, shut up. Because I said they were too overly patriotic on Raw, because they were. It was nauseating. Yes. It was like walking into it's disturbingly nauseating.
Let's get into the Final Deletion.
Oh yes, please. It's over.
Senor Benjamin,
the most overman of professional wrestling is a goddamn gardener. I want everybody to think about that right
now. Rebby Sky's father, real life father.
Is that who that is?
Yeah, that's who it is.
That's so awesome. Oh, that makes it so much better. Oh, so good. All right, Josh, I want you, please go first on the Final Deletion, and then I want to go on it because you know that I was one of the first to really say, listen, this is gonna make money, and this is gonna catch. You know, like I was ribbing it like everybody else, but I said, listen, this is gonna fucking draw, and everyone's gonna be proven wrong. Josh, please go first because I have my own thoughts, and you go first.
At first, I will admit, I thought this is the stupidest thing I ever seen in my life. But with me being able to cover Impact Weekly in depth as I've been able to, I thought last night was an honor to transcribe the Final Deletion. I just gotta be honest, I thought it was an honor because hey, it's something out of the box. It's fresh. You gotta give it up to Matt. I know everybody loves Jeff, and Jeff's the greatest, and he does all the crazy, risky moves and stuff. But Matt doesn't give the credit he deserves as a storyteller, let alone from an in-ring standpoint as well. And I loved everything about it. I was watching Impact last night, and the last couple of weeks of television have been decent. I thought the show was pretty good last night, besides the horrible, and I mean horrible, Billy Corgan, Dixie Carter, Maria Bennett screaming contest. That was hot garbage. As my friends from Wrestling Reaction would say, stop it, please.
See, and that's so upsetting to hear because I love Mike Bennett, I love Maria, I've really wanted them to cross over into WWE, and I understand why they're not. They don't necessarily need to. Mike Bennett and Maria both got a big enough name, but I want their material to work. I hate that I don't want to say stuck working with Dixie or in a program with Dixie and Billy Corgan right now because it's getting Mike and Maria both exposure. And I haven't seen it, so I'm not going to comment on whether I think it's good or bad because I don't know. Yeah. I just know I'm a huge Mike Bennett fan, and I know that I'm a huge Maria fan. And I always want the best for Mike
Bennett. He said me or you. Maria shouted me or you 30 fucking times. She's like, it's got to be me or you. I want to be the president of TNA. It's really bad when TNA is even acknowledging the fact that Dixie is horrible at management in real life. And then you're going to have Maria, who's not that great at promos. I'm sorry, guys. I love her valet work with Mike. I'm a big Mike Bennett fan as well, but she can't talk a lick of crap, man. I'd rather listen to Jillian Hall singing than hear Maria Kanellis scream for 15 minutes. I'm sorry, guys.
And listen, I got to play devil's advocate on one thing real quick. And I love this. So this is the only negative thing I'm going to say. I think for TNA announcers to kind of be very boastful and boisterous and be proud that they got something put in the urban.
Yep. Adam froze on us.
Oh, I did? Am I there?
No, hey. You're good. You're good.
Hey. Okay, so what I was saying was that for TNA to be like bragging about having an entry into Urban Dictionary, so does Rick Santorum. So, and guys, please Google that. Please Google that. Now, if you got something in like Webster's Dictionary or something like that, if Brother Nero ends up in Webster's Dictionary, which I really wanted to, but this is the campaign to start this. Yes. Then that's something you can hang your hat on. Like when Stephen Colbert got truthiness put in the dictionary, But I just think that, that's not the one that you want to hang your hat on as a badge of honor.
Hey, you used one of those weird, long, tricky words I couldn't pronounce. What type of boat was it you were talking about during the fight? Was it depleted or?
It was a dilapidated boat.
Yeah, dilapidated.
Look, it's a dilapidated boat. I lost it, dude. I fell out. For me, that was the point where I went, that's when it's over. Look, a dilapidated boat. I fell out. I was done, dude. This was, to me, well, go ahead, Josh. Keep going, brother. Keep going.
I'm trying my best to be a professional while this thing's going on. I had to write this down the right way and make sure it's out to everybody so they can check it out if they don't have Pop TV. That's a lot of people don't realize. I have fun doing those articles because not a lot of people have access to watching these shows live. So I'm kind of like their informational source. And, the first part where Jeff is climbing up the tree He does a swanton bomb through a ladder 5 minutes into the match. I'm like, what's wrong with you? We already have 2 twists of fates out of the way, and Jeff is already jumping off a tree through a ladder. And it's fun how Rebby, before the match started, she's like, Senior Benjamin, and she's talking to her father like he's like the real landscaper. I thought that was really funny as well. What are you doing? I'm preparing the battlefield of massacre.
Preparing for massacres. Okay. So listen.
Hey, I don't know if you saw this part, but they had a part where Jeff was playing the guitar in his house. The bell rings, and there are aerial assault robots going after him. And then you see a little graphic of Matt Hardy talking shit to him.
The hologram? Oh, yeah, I saw the whole thing. I watched the whole thing. Whenever I saw, and it was weird because I wasn't even really paying that much attention to anything that was going on or whatever. I don't know, Sam and I were doing something. And then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, I went to Twitter, and I'm like, jeez, like everyone I knew was watching like, TNA, which okay, now that's saying enough right there, right? So I'm like, yeah, I got to see this. I got to see this. Unfortunately, it was uploaded, so I was able to see like the full Final Deletion thing. And listen, I'm gonna say this. I'll admit I actually met Jeff before. So cool, dude. Such a cool dude, super down to earth. I'll admit I've always been a bigger Matt fan. I've always been kind of like a big Matt Mark back to the Matt Hardy version 1 days and just all the ridiculousness. He's such a super creative dude, and that's why I knew that as ridiculous as this was, and he knew that he was putting himself out there to be the butt of a lot of jokes, guys. So that's why I didn't really have any problems making jokes, because at the end of the day, I also knew this was going to bring it. It was going to catch. It was too unique not to catch on, and whether you loved it or hated it, people watched it. Yes. And here's a couple things that I want to say about it. Number one, I think the beauty of this was that this just looked like this was the main event of the Hardy family, like 4th of July party. You know what I mean? It's like everybody was done with like everything. Then they're like, he was like, Brother Nero, we must settle this now. Party is over. But listen,
I love the fact they were shooting this the day before Maxwell's birthday party.
So good.
If you saw that in the compound, I just have to say that out of the way.
It's so good. Everything about this to me was so, and I understand that a lot of people were like, I don't get it. It wasn't. This is one of those where if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. And there's certain things that whether you like it or not, this is going to stand the test of time as one of the most brilliant things.
That boat had a family, damn it. that boat had a family, damn it.
Actually, I'll say this. The only other thing that maybe I wouldn't have done was burn a cross-looking figure in the South. That's probably something else I would have stayed away from.
Yeah.
And I'm being 100% serious on that one. I wouldn't have done that spot maybe, but I get it. It was the Matt Hardy logo, whatever, but kind of close. A little bit too close in.
Well, I guess we got to know for future matches, if we do have Final Deletion matches, it's falls count anywhere, because we got we could bring the action to a pit of sand and have their pinfalls there. And here's
the thing too, is that this is one where you have to kick back and just have fun with this.
Yeah.
Not look at it as serious. This, like, we always talk about TNA as a satire of professional wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Matt Hardy absolutely just did just that. He made a satire of professional wrestling, and it was amazing. To me, there is little difference. Obviously, there's differences, but there's little difference in what some of the stuff that Lucha does to this. When it comes to camera angles, when it comes to when you look at the dojo, the Lucha, Aztec or whatever,
the temple,
stadium, the temple that they wrestle, it's different. It's not a stadium. It's not. This was something where WWE is about to do something where New Day is going to go toward to the compound, or the Wyatt family compound. We won't say anything about that because it's awesome. It's a part of the story. But people are going to say how campy in this. Yes, it was supposed to be campy, and I knew that from day one. Was it? But listen, it was so great to make obviously make jokes about stuff like that. But never underestimate the power of creativity, imagination, innovation, and just overall a fun factor. When you can tell people are just having fun, it resonates. Yeah. And this shows that you do not have to be in WWE. And I understand that Matt came from WWE. That's where he made his name, so it's a little easier for him. But Matt Hardy is the perfect example that he's been able to stay relevant and more than relevant by not being in WWE for the better part of however many years now. Guys like Joey Ryan are doing the same thing. Guys like EC3, and we talk about all these guys that are getting over not being in WWE. Mm-hmm. We got to applaud Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy for pulling this off, because this was insanely brilliant. Insanely. I felt like this was Bazooka Circus from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, but it was worth this. Listen, guys, this is the wrestling piece that you might not have thought you wanted, but we really, really needed. You might not have thought that you wanted it, but now you know that you needed it.
What's funny about this stuff? Like, you mentioned camping stuff. Like, I was doing the video with Ronnie last week on the YouTube channel. We were watching last week's Impact, and we were talking about how cool the whole Brother Nero, and like, you guys don't know this behind the scenes. So like, whenever we start recording, or sometimes in Messenger, like I'll send a message out to Adam. I was like, Brother Nero. What's going on, Brother Nero?
And that's the thing, man. Once you get one of those out there where it's like, and again, I rib with the Urban Dictionary thing a little bit, because it's fun to point it out. Hell, WWE even brag about it, so why not TNA? I mean, go for it. Yeah. But when you think about it, okay, there we go. We have a catchphrase. How many of us are going to be saying Brother Nero for the next 10 to 15
It's over.
You're damn right, it's over, because we're gonna be saying Brother Nero as wrestling fans till the day that we die. And
not only will I beat up John Cena, I will delete John Cena.
Delete. I love when he was hitting him with the ladder, going delete, 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 delete. That was so good. Delete. Holy shit, man! Listen. I went in. And I got a bunch of messages last night, Josh, and I want to know what your initial thinking. I want to get in a minute, but I got a bunch of messages on both sides. Like, you either have to see this because it's horrible, you have to see this because it's good, whatever. And so I was able to find, like I said, I was able to find the link, and I was damn near in tears laughing so hard. So listen. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, groundskeeper. Thank you, Revy.
Senor Benjamin.
Senor Benjamin. Yeah, whatever. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, it was so good.
Even the referee was pretty funny.
It was great. He was driving an expired Pennsylvania car, by the way. I'd like to know.
Acer asked a good question to us in the chat room. Which Matt Hardy character do you like more in TNA? Big Money Matt or Broken Matt?
Big Money Matt was so good. Well, Big Money Matt was good. I like Big Money Matt when he would have his silent promos where it was just the cards, and he was just talking about his super hot wife, people being. It was just so he wasn't even saying that, but bathing in money. I don't know. There's just something about this. Okay, tearing down the fourth wall. I dressed up as Joker. Well, no, everyone's seen the picture. If you haven't figured it out by now, my avatar on Twitter is actually me.
Yeah, it's
it's right here. And if you look on my forehead, it says broken. So that was back in October. But I did it because of the whole Suicide Squad thing and Joker coming out and how it says damaged. And my whole thing is Joker would never admit that he was damaged, but as a joke to himself and others, he could admit to himself that he was broken, but only if you looked in the mirror. So I wrote it backwards on my head. So for me, the whole broken Matt Hardy thing was on. It was amazing. I love it. I loved every part of it because we're so used to all these other sides of Matt Hardy, and this one to me was the biggest risk that he could have taken. He really put himself out there on a creative level, and he probably had more fun with this than he had probably with anything else because he just got to kind of submerge himself in this macabre kind of character. So I actually think that I will take this broken Matt Hardy, maybe even over Matt Hardy version 1. And I was a huge version 1 fan from years back. So this might be my favorite Matt
Hardy. I used to play baseball, and Adam, you played baseball a lot too growing up. If there was ever like a wrestling comeback wrestler of the year or whatever that is, I would give it to Matt Hardy. I even put that tweet out last year, and Matt retweeted it, and he said he really appreciated that. The guy is awesome. And to answer Acer's question, I always thought Big Money Matt was better in Ring of Honor. The character-wise, I thought it was better in Ring of Honor, so I'm going to go with Broken Matt here.
Yeah, I get because most of the Big Money Matt stuff that I saw, I think, was old ROH stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I think
deleted.
Delete. He was deleted. I love it, and I love it, and it's so perfect too because somebody asked Matt a question, and you could tell, and again, it's one of those where it really had. At the end of the day, number one, who cares what Matt Hardy thinks? And number two, why would somebody ask him this? Because why would Matt Hardy even care to begin with? But so they asked him about CM Punk going to the UFC, and I like that he was just like, he will be deleted. He will be deleted. It's like the greatest cop-out to just, if you don't want to answer a question or for something you're just like, who cares? The greatest go-to now is, he will be deleted. It's so gold. Thank you, Matt Hardy.
Bro.
Thank you for being the summer of 2016. Thank you. Thank you, Broken Matt Hardy. Thank you.
I want to thank Broken Matt Hardy for finding my response to trolls and Nimrods on Twitter when they want to throw stupid stuff at me on social media. Deleted. Deleted.
Yeah. And you know what, Josh? I would actually say this. I would say that I wouldn't even put Matt as comeback wrestler of the year because I don't think he ever went anywhere. I would almost say maybe Jeff was comeback wrestler of the year because of the injury last year and now being submerged into a big storyline and stuff like that. But Matt has always been able, and this is why I love Matt Hardy, and I've always respected Matt Hardy, is that he's always found a way to connect with fans and get over. He's a super creative dude. He's a smart dude. I don't know, man. And again, it was fun to watch that last night. I don't know. It was fun
awesome,
watch.
Man.
It was so much fun.
Speaking of campy, I wanted to bring this up to you because Ronnie wanted you to check this out as well. If any chance you could find a YouTube segment of It's a Fact of Life with Eli Drake with the dummy button, bro, you'll laugh your ass off of that too. He literally has an actual dummy button.
Oh, jeez. And you know what? And on that, I want to give a shout out to my buddy Mike Armstrong. He sent me a link of it's this thing, and Josh, I didn't get to send it to you yet. The Lapsed Fan did it, and it's called Booking by the Pool, and it is the Royal Rumble 2016, and it's basically it absolutely is satire. But it's Vince McMahon and Pat Patterson poolside trying to book this year's Royal Rumble from 2016. Listen, it's like an hour and a half long, and you want to listen to it. Trust me. I laughed, and I mean laughed. So I know it's the Lapsed Fan, and it's called I think Booking by the Pool.
That's cool. I'll check that out. They have their own YouTube channel, right? That's
yeah,
that's on. Right,
absolutely.
Cool. Absolutely. Awesome. A couple things to get out of the way before we wrap it up here. My friend, our friend Justin asked, "Would you be interested in Orton versus Rusev?"
Wow. Actually, yeah. I would actually. That's one that. Oh, I like both of them in ring. I like a lot. Mm-hmm. So go ahead. What do you think?
I think that'd be pretty cool, and also it could help Rusev get a big victory too, in a way.
And even in a loss, again, it's a win because Orton would know how to make Rusev, quote unquote, look strong, like everybody says. That's the new thing. But Orton would know how to make and those two could have really good chemistry. Good call. Who was that, Justin?
Yeah, shout out.
Yeah.
Also,
good work, my friend. Good work.
How about this? I would love to see a promo with Broken Matt and Bray Wyatt.
No, I would actually right now. I would actually like to see Broken Matt do a promo against either Kevin Owens or against Kevin Owens or Jericho, just because if think about it, Chris Jericho in this Broken Matt Hardy gimmick go, and I understand, but
they're both idiots.
They're both protagonists, and they're both campy protagonists. It would be so incredible. There's my fantasy booking for the day.
All right, there you go. Brother, bring in your plugs. Where can people find you on Twitter? Tell everybody what's going on with you, good brother.
Follow me on Twitter at AdamDaily13. Find me on Your Lovely Show, obviously. Find me on McCool and Company on the New Age Insiders Network. Like I always like to say, I am the Am Company part of that. Follow my beautiful wife at LadyNexus13. She tweets a lot. She's a lot funnier than I am. So I don't even know why I tried a comedy shtick. Follow our show at Wrestling With. We'll be taping Tuesday. We got a special edition this Tuesday, or this Thursday night rather. I'm sorry. Where we're gonna have it's one of my good friends, but he used to be a very hardcore fan who doesn't really watch as much anymore. Kind of keeps up with it, but kind of doesn't. But I want to kind of get into the whys. You know, like we as fans, we sit here and we talk about why we watch, why we don't, or what could be better, what we could not. I'm actually going to dig in to somebody that is still very passionate about wrestling, but is so disgusted with it that he just can't sit back and watch it anymore. So we're going to talk to him about what really turns him off about wrestling, what really turns him on about wrestling. And yeah, so I think that's I guess all the plugging I need to do right now. Make sure you check me out on Warm Up on Wrestling Rumors. We're on there. And I did want to say that Zack Ryder has a new theme if nobody has seen that yet. Zack Ryder has a new theme song that's done by Downstate, who does the Miz's song. And that's awesome. It's the same exact song, but does that make you think, Josh, let me ask this before we get ready to sign off here. Are they going to actually kind of run with Ryder a little bit? I thought maybe he was, and I'm not saying to like a big time championship, but if they're like giving him new music, he's been kind of getting more victories than losses as of late. I mean, are we finally going to see the Long Island IZ maybe kind of finally get that, that television time that he was always doing?
Yes, I think with the split coming up, I think that's going to happen. And I would not be surprised if Ryder goes after Miz at their Battleground.
Okay. I like it. I like that. Mm-hmm. I like that.
Brother Nero, thanks for coming on. It's always, man, it was a blast today.
Brother Lopez, a beautiful time today, but I am sad to say that it's over.
It's over. You can follow me on Twitter at WC Josh Lopez. Tonight, go check out Ultima Lucha Dos. It's Lucha Underground's WrestleMania. It's going to be a 3-part series. It's going to be pretty cool. Part 1 is tonight. I'll be doing that article for WrestleZone.com. It's going to be a 3-week journey. Next week's going to be very busy for me because I got to do part 2 of Ultima Lucha. And then the Cruiserweight Classic is the first episode is going to be next Wednesday. So that's going to be a lot of fun as well. So tonight, if you're not doing anything on the network, they're doing a bracketology thing with Mauro Ranallo, Corey Graves, and Daniel Bryan. So they'll let you guys know what matchups are actually going to happen on the thing. So you guys want to see that special. That's on the network tonight at 9 Eastern, I think. Or 8, I'm not sure, but go to WWE on Twitter. You guys can probably find it there. But for Mr. Daley, Brother Nero, I am Brother Lopez. Thank you guys for checking out this week's Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. Subscribe on iTunes. Leave a review rating. Tell a friend about the show, and we appreciate it. Like this video and subscribe to this YouTube channel as well. For Brother Nero, I'm Brother Lopez. We're out. It's over. We'll talk to you next week, you rat bastards. Peace.